You're listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Here we will talk all things mental wellness.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Confessions of a Counselor. I'm your host, Janice, and today I thought we would talk about imposter syndrome. So this is a topic that comes up often with my clients of not feeling good enough or uncertain on whether or not they are doing everything that they need to do, or if they're almost passing for doing the job that they need to do or showing up in relationships the way that they want to. So that's what I thought we'd talk about today. So let's dive right in. Imposter syndrome is something that I see with a lot of my clients. It's something that I hear about, it's something that I see about, and for me, when we're talking about imposter syndrome, I really see this as a symptom or side effect of kind of overactive anxiety. So when we don't feel good enough about ourselves, then we're more likely to believe that others aren't going to see us as good enough. So in this process of labeling and acknowledging imposter syndrome, we then need to notice where in ourselves are we feeling less than or not good enough to do whatever it is that we're doing, where we're feeling that imposter syndrome. So I think most often we talk about imposter syndrome in the workplace, in our careers, in the things that we are doing. But I also see imposter syndrome in relationships, within school, within family dynamics, right? So there's many ways in which we can see imposter syndrome kind of show up. And when this happens, I think that the best way to acknowledge it is to just name it, right? To say like, yeah, I am not feeling like the best version of myself. And here's where we want to check the evidence, right? So you've heard me use this term before, where we want to see if what we're thinking or feeling, particularly in relationship to things when we're feeling anxious, is there evidence? Is there proof that whatever it is that I'm thinking or feeling is actually accurate? So if I'm not feeling like I'm performing well enough at work, or someone is going to see through me, or that they're going to know that I'm not doing a good enough job, is there actually any evidence that that's true? Is there any evidence that that's actually what's happening? And if there's not, then we want to walk through that process of acknowledging that we're not always going to know everything. We're not always going to have it together completely. And it's okay to be human. It's okay to not be perfect at the thing that we're doing successfully, right? So perfect and successful are not the same thing. And I think this is where navigating that imposter syndrome is so important, that just because we're not doing something perfectly doesn't mean that we're inadequate at it or that we're not doing it well enough. So check our evidence, and then a little bit of fake it till you make it is totally fine, right? It is okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, hey, this is outside of what I understand. Can you support me in this? And then it's also okay to be like, yeah, I got all the skills. I've got all the knowledge that I need, and I'm just going to go with the best case scenario here. So again, I think the most important thing is when we notice imposter syndrome coming up, to check our evidence and make sure that this isn't overactive anxiety that's showing up for us. Okay, I hope that's helpful, and we will talk next time. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcast, both on Apple and Android. New episodes will be released every Friday. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to join the conversation. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast hosted on the Anchor app. All these details can be found at janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.